Welcome to 12 Faces of Sober Speaks podcast, episode 32. I am Kenneth L. Watson Jr. It's a pleasure again to come out here and be able to share positivity and sobriety. This morning's show is no different. And the good thing about this is that we're talking across the waters. And so I look forward to having this conversation. But before we get into that, just some house cleaning. You guys can shop the merch, like I said, that I'm wearing right now on 12facesofsober.com. Like I said, 12facesofsober.com. Not only can you get this shirt, but you can also get a signed copy of my book as well. You can get, there's also another link on there. I just have just updated a winter line of 12 Faces of Sober with camo. So I have hoodies, I have sweatshirts, I have tights, I have beanies. So like I said, you can all get that on 12 Faces of Sober. If not, you can go on my link tree at 12 Faces of Sober. Now, this morning's guest, like I said, I try my best to follow as many people in the sober community. This person is no different, but the only difference is that Sexy is sober. Sexy is sober, and like I said, I came across it and I said, wow, okay, let's click on it. And I'm like, okay, I don't know, is it legit? Is it, this and that? But then the website, I'm sorry, the link, the not the link, but the page itself not only has quotes, but it also has art. And each and every picture has a story itself. And we'll dive into that, as well as the quotes. Some of the quotes will open your eyes, but it also gives you a different perspective on sobriety. And I look forward to having this conversation. And she goes by Sexy is Sober, and her name is Tracie. So welcome to 12 Faces of Sober Speaks podcast. How you doing?
I'm good, Kenneth. How are you?
It's on mute. It's muted. It's muted.
Oh, shit. No. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Should we start over?
Oh, could you hear me?
I could hear you.
Oh man. Okay. Well then, you know what? Just go ahead, because I can play around with the editing.
You cut it?
Mm-hmm. I sure can.
So how do you want to start? You want to start saying here? I'll say hello, Kenneth.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead. 3, 2.
Hey, Kenneth. How are you?
Hey, welcome to the show. So where are we having this conversation? Where are you hiding out?
Oh, I'm hiding out in Abu Dhabi.
Wow. So I feel very honored to not only be celebrating my 5 years and 1 month sober, but being able to have my first guest out overseas. I had Canada, but now we're really across the Atlantic. So yeah, so welcome to the show. And so now tell me, as I mentioned in the intro, you have this positive message, and I want to be able to have a discussion about that, as well as tell me a little bit of a backstory on yourself. How long have you been sober? Is this your first go round? Hey, give me all the information you want to give me today.
Love it. Thanks, Kenneth. Well, first, thank you for asking me to be on your show. I'm super excited to be here. And yeah, my name is Tracie, and I am an alcoholic. My sobriety date is June 12th, 2020. So I guess that puts me a little bit over a year and a half of being sober. And I love sobriety. I love my life and the woman that I am sober. And I want to share that with people. And, so that's where I found, in 2 weeks into my sobriety, I started Sexy is Sober.
Now, for the audience, what is so sexy about being sober to you?
I think the sexiest thing about being sober for me is the honesty, the capability, and just the love that you feel for yourself and for others in sobriety. I think that's super, and yeah, I think that's super sexy.
Mm. And I see that, you know, you don't hesitate with, you know, being honest as far as being sober. Oh, you know what? Before that, you know, what were your struggles when you were drinking? Let's go
Sure.
there first. Let's go
Yeah.
there.
I mean, well, so, I was always a party girl.
Mm,
I started drinking at a really early age, like 13. Continued to party through high school, college, just drank a lot, experimented a lot. Uh, and, even I was a young mother. I was about 23 when I had my daughter. And, we still continued to party and to have good times, but it was mainly on the weekends, and we were responsible enough with it, not drinking and driving, maybe having parties at our house. So for me, everything social was around drinking, or that's just the way I knew how to have fun and and be sexy and yeah, and just a lot of social things. For me in 2010, that changed. I think that's when I started to really abuse alcohol. And a lot of things happened in my life during that year where I just turned to alcohol to numb. My father passed away. I lost my business. Um, I think it was the beginning of the end for my husband and I. Um, and and I was hurting a lot, and I did not want to feel it, and I didn't want to deal with it. And so my drinking really escalated during that time. And instead of, just drinking on the weekends, it would be drinking after work, and it would be drinking alone. I remember crying alone a lot while I was drunk. Um, and soon, fast forward a couple years and my tolerance is up. And so I'm drinking 2 bottles of wine a night, and the hangovers were just really, really bad. And for me, they were emotionally bad, physically for sure, but emotionally I was super depressed. I was questioning everything I'd done the night before. We may have had the same time at a party or out at an event, but the next morning I would feel like really horrible. I'd feel like I'd done something wrong, you know or not remember what I've done. And that's when the blackouts started actually beginning a little bit in college. But during that time, they were getting worse. So I actually decided to become sober in 2016, or no, 2018. By then I remember I was at work, and I was in a bathroom stall, hungover, feeling like absolute hell, and just crying and like, what are you doing? I know my capabilities as a professional, as a mother, as a wife, as a woman, as a friend, and how I drank alcohol, it limited all of that. I was not doing what I was capable of. I also wanted to make some big changes in my life, and directly with my family, and restructuring that. And that involved my husband at the time and my daughter. And so in order to do that, I wanted to be sober. I wanted to be completely clear and present and as fit as possible to make those decisions and make sure I was making them with a clear mind, um, and not drunk. And also, I didn't want it to be the reason why I was doing this, making these big changes. So I did it. So I went I think to one AA. I had a friend who was in AA. I went to one meeting. I was like, this is not for me. I'm not going to do this, but I'm going to stay sober. And I did that, and I stayed sober for 2 years, and I made some really big changes in my life. Um, and fast forward, I'm telling people I'm most fit in my life, emotionally, physically, but I never said spiritually. So it made sense to me now why I decided to start drinking again. They'd ask me then, why do you not drink? And I was like, well, I abuse alcohol, but I never said I was an alcoholic, because I wasn't an alcoholic. I just abused alcohol.
mm,
So I started to drink again, and fast forward like 8 months into that second round with me trying to drink again. And let me tell you, they say that alcoholism does push-ups while you're, sober and in recovery. And mine was, and it was super strong when it came back. The last week I drank, I blacked out 4 times. I put myself in some very precarious sexual situations that did not make me feel good. Some I don't even remember. Blacking out was just, it was part of my drinking then and how I drank. So I'm very fortunate and lucky. I never hurt anybody or myself being in some of those situations. But I know that they did not make me feel good. So the last hangover that I had, I remember it was raining so hard outside, and it was just the darkest day of my life. And I woke up and I had come so far in that sobriety, and made all these life changes and was living on my own, and really feeling good about myself, and working through issues and facing them. But that day, my alcoholism was like, no, you don't. I didn't want to be here anymore, Kenneth. I mean, I'm to be completely honest with you, I wanted to commit suicide. I wanted to kill myself. I hated myself. I wanted to go backwards. I wanted to go back to I questioned everything I had done, and to get to that time. And it was alcohol. I mean, it was my alcoholism, because it was just this cycle, which a lot of us probably understand, is, you drink like that and you go to that place and then you're like, oh, I'm not going to drink anymore, because in a couple of days it's going to be out, and you're and I always told myself, this is a depressant. It's just amplifying already what you feel. Just get through today. But I'd end up drinking, that night, because maybe I didn't want to feel yucky, and it was a habit, or I wanted to numb. I wanted to just numb, and I didn't want to, feel like that. So instead of doing that, I called a friend, and I asked for help, and I received that help. And it took me about 3 to 4 days to admit, after hearing other people, alcoholics, tell their stories and share their experience, strength, and hope, that I too am an alcoholic. And so that day really changed my life. And from that day forward, I just, now I believe knowledge is power. So now I know what's wrong with me. Now I know why I can't drink anymore. And now I have the tools and, to manage that and to work through it. And so that's what I do every day. I mean, it's, and 2 weeks into my sobriety, I took this picture and I felt really good and I looked pretty, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to start an Instagram page, and post a picture. I used to be a stationer. I designed invitations, announcements. I was a paper artist. So I love colors and I love text. I love words. And I love sex too, but I have this sex appeal about me that, I didn't know what to do with it. But I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it here, and I'm going to do it on Instagram. I told myself I was going to post one thing a day. And no matter what, no matter how I was feeling, just one post a day. And that's happened now for 1.5 years. And I have discovered so much about myself and about others and about this community. And it's just, to me, in my sobriety, what my sobriety has brought back to me is my creativity. And that brings me so much joy and happiness. And yeah, I'm just super grateful. I'm super grateful.
Thank you for sharing. And a lot of those, some of the things that you shared, about a divorce, I dealt with that. So I can relate completely. And that's one of the things is good about the sober community, is that as, individuals share, the more that we share, we find that we have certain things that set us back. But then also, we also find that we are able to correct those mistakes and now be able to do something else. And with that, it's like your creativity is, like you said, you're embracing your sexuality. You're embracing, okay, look, I love, taking photos. I love, being expressive with the words. So it's like, but now you're just doing it in the sober realm, so
Yeah.
I think that's really, really, really awesome. So
Thank you.
as you mentioned, wait, let me see. So what is, you discuss about the pictures, and you know, I guess did you have the confidence before getting sober, or was it like, okay, now I can be sexy, or is it just in a different way of being sexy? You know what I'm saying? Like, what was it that kind of like took it to that level?
Well, my confidence was definitely not there anymore when I in my active alcoholism. I
Mhm,
mean, yes, I've always been a confident woman.
mhm,
Um, and I've always had a creative side to me. Uh, but what I but alcohol drowned it that, because I mean I chose to drown it with alcohol and not to even face it. There was a lot of pain that came when I lost my business. It was my creative business. It was my dream, you know. And I in 2010 that went down, and I so I was confident enough to start a business, to believe in myself then, uh you know, to put myself out there with my art or my invitations and my paperwork. I was a confident as a mother. I definitely, you know, yeah, I'm a confident woman for sure. Um, and but from I think when my drinking changed in 2010 up until, you know, a year and a half ago, you know, I wasn't anymore, and that was because I was replacing it with alcohol, and it just drowned everything good, you know, about me.
mhm,
Um, so yeah, so definitely in my sobriety, I've been able to find that again,
mhm.
and and I want to share it, you know.
And I like that, because I've had health issues. Well, I found out I had all these health issues once I started getting sober. So I had to, obviously change my diet. I can't work in it, can't work out as heavy as I want to, but I know that I've lost a lot of weight. I've lost
Yeah.
roughly about 45 to 50 pounds just since since I got out the army. So August of 2015 until now, I've lost roughly 50 pounds. And
Wow. Good for
and
you.
thank you. And but like I was talking to you before this, it was I I was cocky when I was doing, when I was drinking, but I didn't necessarily know that, like, okay, I'm gaining all this weight. I'm can't, be as active as I want to be. But
Right.
now I understand it. It's like, okay, I can do a lot more now that I'm sober. I could do a lot more, or I'm confident if I do go to Jacksonville Beach and take off my shirt, like I'll feel comfortable doing that, compared to
Yeah.
like before. I'll go to the beach and wouldn't even take off my shirt. It was like, nah, I don't want nobody seeing my beer belly, but that was just me. So I guess, yeah, I agree that, like, you might have one type of confidence while you were drinking, but then it's like a whole different type of confidence. You know what I'm saying? But it comes with time. You know what I'm saying? And it comes with what you're truly trying to work on. And clearly you're working on you. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, and I think with the confidence thing, and that's why I think in people in recovery, we're authentic, we're honest, right? We have to be to stay sober. You have to be honest with yourself, because no one else will know if you're not being honest, except, you know, your higher power, if you believe in one.
Mhm,
So for you to, I think for you, you know, no, you know, no matter what we look like on the outside, to go to the beach or to express yourself and take that shirt off, you're sexy because you know who you are.
mhm,
You're being that person, you
right.
know, and that's amazing, and that's sexy.
Mhm.
So yeah.
And then one thing, that I noticed going through some amazing pictures, needless to say, but it seemed like, whether it was a group photo, or if it was an individual photo, or if it was of someone else, it seemed like it was, even not knowing if all the individuals in the pictures were sober, but it just seems like, people were building around you, and it's like, this is who I am, but I'm sober. I'm able to be active. I'm able to do various things, still have fun. But the most
Yes.
important thing is not having that alcohol. As you mentioned earlier, you like to drink wine. So you're not having that wine glass. So, I mean, that's what really to me stood out. Not only the text, but it was like to be able to go through, you had one picture where you had like mud on your face, and I forgot exactly where he was, but it was just like to being able to take those risks. Like there's certain things that I won't do now. Like when I went and proposed to my fiance, she was like, oh, we're gonna go to some mountains. And I was like, oh man, I don't do well with it. But I was like, all right, let's go. And I went ahead and we drove and stuff. But didn't know that I was gonna propose to her at the place. But you know what I mean? So it's like sometimes conquering your fears. It's like,
Yes.
I can't stand heights. You know what I mean? I fly a lot, but I still don't like to be up high in some place. So I
But
I
you
like
get on
that.
the
Oh yeah. I still got to get to the destination.
and for me, these opportunities to explore and then design and create the process of my recovery and the steps that I'm in at the time through photography, which I love. And then it allows me to, so I have these concepts running through my mind and like, okay, how can I do this? And then I get to work with local photographers who are amazing and who have taught me so much. And also I think, because I've never modeled, I've never done any of that. And just being in front of the camera more and being able to express myself and learn from it, and then seeing it, it's empowered me and it's made me more confident. And it's not just all this, it's telling you, too, like I'm speaking to you and I want you to hear me, with that dirty, it's sexy as sober as dirty is work, or, is work is me. And that's, that because it is, sexy is dirty and, sober is clean. That was it. Sexy is sober is dirty is clean. And so I wanted to show the dirty side and the hard work that it takes. And that to me is sexy. I mean, again, anyone that works in their sobriety and their recovery is just amazing to me. My mother, a addict, she was addicted to prescription pain pills. And, as I'm going through this journey of my own, I'm learning so much and how to, love her and forgive her. And she's no longer with us, unfortunately. But at the end, I was in my recovery, so I had much more compassion for her. But I longed for her just to own it. I always wanted her to own it, even as a kid. And now, and even as an adult, I wanted her just to say to me, I'm an addict. And she never could, and she never did. And that's okay. But what it's taught me is that I want to own it. And people that do own it, and then they change it, and then they manage it. And I mean, and they create so much joy within themselves, and then to their families and to their loved ones and to the people that they don't even know. That's it. I just love it. I just love it.
And that hit a nerve too, because like, my dad, I learned my drinking from my father. And, as a kid living in San Diego, and, he was in the Navy, and, when he had, Friday nights, whatever, he played music and turn it up loud, and the shore patrol police would show up, and he would do it the next weekend, same thing over and over. And whether or not, if he's sober today, I don't 100% know, but I'm hoping and pray that he is. But we've never really and truly had the conversation about sobriety. And, he'll just be like, okay, that's good, you're sober. But it's like, man, like, but, like you said, sometimes you want to have the discussion, and sometimes it's not. And sometimes it's just not meant to really know, as long as you continue to remain on that path. And definitely that's what I've been on. And so, go ahead.
Peace with is my mom, and sorry, but what gives me a little bit peace with that is my mother was able to see me sober again and experience sexy as sober for the first like 3 months of it. So that she was so happy and excited that, one, I wasn't drinking, but second, that I was finding my creativity again. So I know she'd be super proud and supportive, and from wherever she is too. So and I do get my heart from, I will credit her that for sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, she definitely created a very inspiring person. Needless to say, you impact a lot of people. Now, so sexual expression and sobriety isn't something that you would necessarily like, be discussed out in the open. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it's hard to say it, but it's like,
Why?
well, not what, well,
I
it,
mean,
well, it's not. I mean,
just so good and beautiful and positive and love, you know. I mean, you don't have to have both together if you're not into that, but um I don't know. I think it fuels us a lot. I think it's a beautiful thing.
mhm,
And I think in recovery, you find a lot of love and respect for yourself again.
mhm,
And you know, you're proud of yourself and that's good. That's okay. And then it's also okay well, I mean, I think being intimate and connected with people, whether it's on a romantic level or not, it's part of our human nature and it's part of our recovery and it's just it's a nurturing thing and it's a good thing.
mhm.
So being sober and being able to experience those things are so special and they're so much better in my experience than when I was actively drinking and drunk.
Mhm.
I mean, so
I
they're
listen. I totally agree. I mean, it's different. You know what I'm saying? Because if that's what you're used to, and then to be like, all right, you know, however long that run was going, and then you're like, okay, it's that much better. You know what I'm saying? That's how it's been for me. It's like, oh wow, okay. I'm
yeah,
not. I'm thinking I'm gonna miss out on something. Nah, I'm gaining more. You know, so
that's right.
it's and that's what I, honestly, to me is what stood out about it because like, man, you have these thoughts, but you're posting it, and so
Well,
it's but it's nothing wrong with it. I'm
I mean,
not.
we're have sex. You know, I mean, and baby,
Yeah,
baby. It's like, you know, it's great.
yeah, yeah. Ooh, uh-oh. We lost it. Okay, okay, all
but we
right.
don't have to talk. All right. So we're recording?
Yeah, we it's I think it's still recording.
I'm gonna go back and say we're adults
mm,
and you know, and we all have sex.
mm,
so, so yeah, Kenneth. So, yeah, I mean, we're adults. We all have sex, or I think, you know, a lot of us have sex.
mm,
And I believe when we are sober and completely present to give consent, to feel physically and emotionally, you know, it's just such a beautiful experience.
mm.
And so that's what I strive to educate and to show people and tell and to remind them it's okay and it shouldn't be embarrassing. I don't think it's a beautiful natural thing.
Yes, it is. It's nothing nothing is wrong with it. I only thing, like I said, for me is that I will say that I had to make rules in terms of the women that I deal with because I was not gonna we could not be anything physical if you're still drinking. Just one of those rules.
Wait, for what?
Well, I'm just saying, like, y- you know, dealing with a woman, period. Like just dating, the
Yeah.
bedroom, all of that. You're not coming in near me with alcohol because I will be very
Oh,
sick. Yeah.
yes. And I
Like,
and
I,
no, and I found that yes, in my sobriety as well. And I'm right there with you. And yeah, so it's really interesting to me right now because I'm, you know, dating
mhm,
and I love to date. And I've gotten more confident in my dating and because it's, you know, it's a little different. Usually when people date, they go and they, you know, meet at a bar and they start
mhm,
drinking immediately and then they warm up and they get to know people. And now, you know, that may occur, but I go and I order a mocktail. I do put on my profile that I never drink. So, you know, I think the men, if they're reading that, they should see that first. But, you know, it always comes up in conversation. So I'm open book. I'm like, yeah, I don't drink anymore. Is this a problem? Oh, no, it's never a problem, you know, but I can tell that some of
mhm,
the bigger drinkers because they're just so like, what do you know, you mean you never drink? You never? And I'm like, no, I don't. So
mhm,
so it's interesting. So recently when I dated, I chose actually someone whose profile said they never drank. I was like, you know what? You talk about sobriety all the time. Go, you know, go out with somebody that doesn't drink.
Mm.
And it was really amazing. I loved it. I mean, I really loved it. And we had so much in common. It was easy. We had, we had common interest in doing things without alcohol being around. And it wasn't even a big deal. I found some men who drink that I dated. I think they feel like they may have to hide it from me, and they don't have to, because they're not alcoholics, so you drink in front of me, it's okay. And so I just, it's interesting. I really like to have a sober partner if I could, you know?
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna tell you, it was a
I
challenge.
want to ask you, you're engaged, right?
Yeah, yes, and my lady does not drink. But look, we met on Facebook. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was I was trying to when I first found out I had diabetes, I was trying to cut my diet, so I decided to try the whole vegan curious, and I joined a vegan group, and I was doing community work up here in Minnesota, up in St. Cloud, and so I'm rubbing elbows with the mayor, police chief, and all the people
Wow.
that got money. So I had to dress, I had to play the part, putting on nice suits and stuff like that. So the moderator was like, "Yeah, single fellas, put up post a picture in the suit." I got a couple likes, only like one or two, and
You
so
found it. I love it.
yeah, so I went through. I said, okay, well, hey, people liking my picture. Let me see if I could. I'm single. Well, actually, I was 1 year removed from getting divorced and everything. So I'm finishing my master's program. I'm trying to finally put my feet out there back in the game. I
That's
was like,
good.
okay. I said, click on hers. Hello. She responded. Mind you, I'm in Cleveland getting ready to go to a football game, and then we hit it off. And ever since then, and I just told her, I said, hey, I drink. She said, well, guess what? I don't drink either. And I don't really care for alcohol. I said, hey, I ain't letting you go. So
I know.
that's kind
And
of, it's kind of how it is.
I'm very happy for you both. And I mean, and so yeah, I see, to feel the feelings that you feel for one another and that connection, I'm sure it's just intense and authentic and beautiful, and good. So that makes me happy.
Uh-oh, you're getting another phone call.
No, it was my low power mode. I'm here.
Oh, okay.
But
So
anyways, great. Good job, Kenneth. I'm excited for you.
thank you. So we getting close to the end, but
Yeah.
there was a couple that stood out to me. And now, mind you, there was a lot of them that stood out, but I wanted to just kind of, get the viewers to get over to your page to
Thank
just see
you.
some of the things that we're talking about. And just as we say, we were just discussing, fall madly in love with your sobriety.
Yeah.
What I got from that is, I've tried this sobriety thing more than once. I've been to rehab probably 4 times, in various states: Virginia, Arizona, Minnesota. And I didn't get it, but this last time I did, for the craziest reason. But I had to also fall in love with myself. I hated myself when I was drinking. All the
Yeah.
people around me were negative for the most
Yeah.
part. And I was in Phoenix, and my brother lived there, but he had his own life and his own problems because he's an alcoholic, which I'm not ashamed to say. But he had his own stuff to deal with. So in a lot of ways, I was there with my ex-wife, and that was just the worst. So I understand what you meant earlier when you said you contemplated suicide and things like that. I was on the brink because it just felt like nothing was working.
Yeah.
But until I got sober and got the opportunities to get to know myself again, and that's when it was like, damn, I love me. You got the ego, you got the confidence. And that's what I like about your whole profile itself, is that you truly love yourself, and you are not ashamed to let everybody know. And then on top of that, it's sober, and sober is sexy is sober. So it's all of you. it defines you. And I think that was one of them that really touched me. And the second one is, as we've been having this conversation, is I am sober, sex positive.
Yeah.
And you know, if you don't mind touching on that before we conclude, and because I
No,
think that is very, very important. So if you don't mind, I know you talked about it a little bit, but if you could just touch on it a little bit more before we part ways.
absolutely, Kenneth, and thank you. And I think in sobriety, we all discover things about ourselves, or hopefully we are, and things are becoming a little bit clearer. And for me, it was having a discussion with someone about the platform and about being sober. And he's like, "So you're sex positive?" And I was like, "Well, what is sex positive?" I'm like, because I like sex and I like to express myself, and I'm a cheerleader for for good sex and healthy sex and sobriety. And so I went and I researched, and being sex positive is believing that sex is a natural, healthy, beneficial thing, and that's and then making it okay. And yeah, and that's exactly what I am. So I'm just, I don't know. I just feel like yeah, I know myself. I know who I am and what I'm capable of. And that is a woman who has a really big heart, an open heart, who wants to, who's a nurturer, who enjoys sex and who is comfortable in her own skin, and who is a cheerleader for sobriety and for people in recovery. I have a lot of respect and love for people in our community. And I want to, if anything, if I can empower them and help them realize that and see that, or someone who's even contemplating sobriety, I want them to know, we're not a glum lot. We are sexy. We're sober. And it's a beautiful, wonderful thing. So yeah.
Okay. And see, I was about to ask you, if you got any inspiring words, but you already didn't answer that question for me. But like I said, I feel much better because this is my first interview on about this topic. So,
Good. Is
yeah,
that weird?
but no, it's not weird. It's just it's you have these type of conversations, but it's not on a regular basis. But I want to definitely say I've appreciated this conversation. It has been very inspiring to me because I love hearing other people's stories. I love to hear the struggle, and then I also like to hear those coming out of it. And I know I have a couple, a few years, a little bit longer sober, but I commend you for not giving up. You mentioned that you tried it before and it didn't work, but now it seems like you're on the path of like no return. You know
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
don't.
saying?
And thanks, Kenneth. Yeah, I'm spiritually, what I've learned recently, and now I'm traveling sober, and we didn't get to hit that too much now, but maybe another conversation we can have.
Wait.
And
Oh,
if you,
I forgot. I can ask you that too. Don't worry. We can cut and paste. Go ahead. Keep going. I'm sorry.
no, it's all good.
I forgot. My bad. I'm scrolling up on this on my phone. See, that's the problem. I don't have it. Usually I have it on the side of the thing. But go ahead. Keep going.
Um, but yeah, so I don't know what I was talking about.
I'm sorry. My bad.
No,
Um,
no, no.
no, but you know what? Since we talked about it, yeah. The one thing I noticed is that you do like to travel.
I
So
do.
um, do you what are some of the things that did have you noticed now traveling sober over before when you were traveling when you were still drinking?
First, I trust myself.
Mm,
I trust myself 110%. The fear of, being in a city on my own, not knowing how to get to A to B, not knowing who I'm going to meet, it no longer frightens me. The freedom that I feel and it is amazing. the last time it was pre-COVID, and I was drinking, and I went to Paris. It was really the first trip I did on my own, and I was in Paris. I still drank, but I was getting back into it. So I knew, like, don't drink too much, when you're traveling alone. But I went out, and I would have a glass of wine, and then it turned into two, and then I got like that feeling of, okay, you're starting to get a little buzz, so you need to go back into your hotel room, and so that's what I did. And then when I got back into my hotel room, I drank.
Mhm.
So that evening was spent worrying about, am I going to drink too much? And then how am I going to get back without being taken advantage of, or getting into, or blacking out, or, and then the fear set in. And then I went into my room, I isolated, and I drank, and I drank in there. And so now it's a totally different experience. Yeah, I mean, trust myself wholeheartedly. If I'm not drinking, I'm not putting myself in those positions. And this world is a good place, and alcohol make it really look bad, and put a lot of fear in me. And that's been lifted, and I've given that away. I've let it go. And so I'm able to experience different cultures, really immerse myself in them, because I have the courage and the trust in myself that I'm going to be okay. I'm safe, and really take advantage of every minute of it to do really good things. And then, I'm waking up clear-minded and ready to go. And yeah, so I highly recommend it, especially if you're traveling alone. So much just comes with sobriety. It really does. And it's being honest with ourselves. It's just being honest with yourselves, owning what you want and what you do, and knowing what you're capable of, and then just going and doing it. So yeah.
Because I definitely agree with you in terms of the traveling, because I definitely had to trust myself, especially early in the sobriety. Like I said, when I was in South Africa, they it was, here it is, I'm 30, I think I was 37. And so here, most of all the students were, 19, 20, 21. So it was like either I sit in the hotel room or go out with them. And 99% of the time I was in the hotel. So whenever all the other students, had bottles on bottles, I was seeing what was going on in the States, because I know how, this wasn't my first go around doing the study abroad. But I second that in terms of traveling. I don't think I've ever traveled this much in 5 years that I did the whole entire time I was married. It was like I was going just to Phoenix. If I was stationed in Texas, Phoenix, North Carolina,
Yeah.
Phoenix. So it's like I welcome it, and I get a chance to see my family, extended family. They're surprised, they're proud of me. I
Yeah.
get respect, and I like it, and regardless of it, if it's by myself or I'm going with someone, is it the opportunity to go and see other places that I was even embarrassed to go to. Like I wouldn't even come to Minnesota to visit my family when I was,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
it's good to be back, and don't be in
Uh,
no trouble that way. So
Happy to have you back, Kenneth. So
yeah,
good.
definitely, definitely. But so again, where can the audience follow you, just in case if they do not follow you yet on Instagram
Oh,
or other
so
platforms?
yeah, they can find me on Instagram. It's at sexy_is_sober. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, and I have a website, and that's www.sexyissober.us. And yeah, and what I've done on my travels is I have reached out to some followers. So in the Netherlands, I had the opportunity to meet with two of them and interview them. I'm hoping to meet some sober people in Abu Dhabi. So as I move around and I travel, I would love to just talk to sober people and see how their life is, and maybe talk about the joy, love, and sexiness that sobriety has brought to their lives.
Mm,
And Kenneth, before we go, I want to thank you very much for your service that you have for our country. To see you as another creative, just uh, expressing himself through your writing is just amazing. I can't wait to read your book, and just and to share and to give to our community what you give is it's amazing. So thank you so much.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it, Tracy. Yeah, and like I said, whenever you get back to Jacksonville, you know, or whenever you stop through, swing through, you know, hey, you know,
Of
hey,
course we're together.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure, definitely. And
I
like
want
I
to become so close friends. I'll be invited to your wedding.
yeah, we gonna it's gonna be somewhere over there. It's gonna be somewhere either in Jacksonville or on one of them islands. I'm trying to find out by February. Hopefully, I'll have that
Yeah.
secured and everything. But
Wow.
once again, hold tight before close out. But like once again, ladies and gentlemen, another good successful show. Greatly appreciative of it and the opportunity. Ooh, wait a minute. Oh, what happened? Oh, wait, dang. Oh, I'm like the thing went it minimized everything. I'm like, oh, hold on.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wait. I'm like, oh dang, what happened? Oh, now I gotta do that again. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Oh, I'm like, dang it. Like I was moving my cell phone. We'll try it again. All right. This concludes another episode of 12 Faces of Sober Speaks podcast. I am very, very thankful and appreciative of this morning's guest. Great conversation. Sober is sexy conversation. I'm sorry, sexy is sober conversation. And I look forward not only to continue to witness the positive words, uh, the sexy photos, and it's you know this is what the sober community is all about. Is that you know people having the opportunity to share with others, be impactful, inspire others to know that hey we can have just as much fun being sober as it would be if we were still out there drinking.
Yeah.
So once again, this is 12 Faces of Sober. And you guys continue to, you know, work on your craft because like I said, I didn't get here by myself. It was great people like Tracie that was doing the same thing, you know, looking out for me. And that's all I'm trying to do. So again, be safe over there.
Thank
Tracie, don't, you know, enjoy it. Take lots more photos and meet great people. And like I said, but thanks again for coming on the show.
Oh, and thank you so much, Kenneth, for having me and joining me in Abu Dhabi.
All right, thank you. Take care.
Bye.
All right. Thank you.